Ever since I started sending cold emails 4 years ago, I've seen and sent every type of email you could possibly think of across dozens of different industries like marketing agencies, SaaS, product development services, law settlement firms, you name it. And the truth is, what works and doesn't work is constantly changing. However, there is one email framework that is responsible for consistently bringing us a 20% plus positive reply rate on our campaigns and $51,000 a month in revenue. So in this video, I'm going to share the 4 steps to this framework, why it works so well, and how you can implement it directly to your business. All right, so diving into the meat and bones of the video, we're going to be starting off with the offer. And first, I want to tell you about a story about one of our first clients actually that came to us with a very generic offer, and they had run cold email campaigns before with very limited success. And you'd be surprised at how many different businesses have terrible or generic offers that try running cold email marketing in-house and don't see any results, and then all of a sudden blame cold email marketing for not working. Now, this client in particular, they offered SEO and web design services to junk removal companies. As you can imagine, web design and SEO is extremely saturated. Everybody and their brother offers that service. So where they struggled was being able to position their offer in a way that made prospects feel silly saying no to them. And so that's why I want to share this personal framework that really allows you to craft offers that are so good that your competitors will literally shit their pants. And I refer to it as I-QUARTM. I know that sounds funny. I'll say it one more time. It's called I-QUARTM, which stands for Industry, Quantifiable Result, Time Frame, and Unique Mechanism. And I know it's probably not the best acronym. However, if you implement it for your business, I guarantee you'll see results every single time that you use it. But once our offer doesn't want to make people cry in agony, it's time to actually start writing scripts. So let me ask you a question. What is your brain's favorite word? And I know it's probably an awkward question, but your brain's favorite word is actually your own name because you've lived with it your entire life. And if you're walking down the street and somebody calls you by your first name, not only are you going to look to them, but you're probably going to respond. And then you're even more likely to actually have a conversation with that person if they're referring to you and calling you by your name directly. The same exact thing applies to cold email, except you don't want to just call prospects by their first name and then leave it at that. That is the absolute bare minimum. But we want to actually go the extra mile and personalize our emails or really build as much relevance with the first line of our opening email as possible to increase the likelihood that a prospect wants to respond to us. And so in order to build relevance in the first line of your email, you could really do this in one of 2 different ways, at least that we found most effective. The first way is by personalizing your first email by calling out something that is super specific and relevant to something going on in that person's everyday life. So if we're referring to that marketing company that helps junk removal companies, you could mention something like, hey, I noticed that you all just opened up your 2nd location in New York. Congrats on the growth. Or if we're using a different example, it could be, hey, I saw that you were featured on Barstool's podcast. Or you could say, hey, I noticed that you guys just got funded. You know, there's so many different ways that you could spin it up, but essentially what you're doing is you're trying to call out and personalize the first email so it looks like you actually did your research and you're calling out something that's relevant and specific to them and to them only. Now, the second way that you can go about building relevance in your first opening line email is by using the poke the bear method, or as we like to call it, why you, why now? And essentially what we're trying to do is we're trying to surface a pain point or a problem that we know that that person deals with on the day-to-day, and it's got to be a problem that you know your solution can help them solve. And if we want to tie that why you, why now opening statement to the client that we have that's servicing junk removal companies, that pain point question could look like, if you're like most junk removal company owners we speak with, you're probably losing a ton of business to big name franchises eating up your market share. Now, if we want to use that in a different sense for a different offer, you could say a lot of founders we speak with struggle to outsource and delegate day-to-day admin tasks, typically leading to burnout and stunted growth in their business. That would be very applicable if maybe you're selling outsourcing services or, staffing services. But essentially what you're trying to do, once again, is just find a pain point that you can ask a probing, engaging question in your opening line, and that's supposed to lead to the offer that you're going to actually present in the follow-up sentences. Now, the reason why we want to bring pain or relevance or personalization to that opening line is because 1, it's going to grab their attention, and then 2, it's going to show that we understand who they are or what their problems are, and it makes us clearly capable of being able to fix that problem that they're dealing with. Hey guys, quick interjection here. So it's one thing to be able to apply this framework to craft an irresistible offer. However, it's a completely separate thing being able to write effective and persuasive scripts to put it all together. So click the link below to download our 5 best proven cold email templates. So that way you can plug them in and pair it up with this video. And then one more thing that I've got to ask is that if you enjoy my content, please subscribe to my channel, like the video, and then comment your thoughts below. And now let's go ahead and jump into the final step of the iQuartum framework. Now, that is the first step of the process. Again, it's industry or, relevance. It's really just finding a relevant persona that you're going to be reaching out to and building relevance with that opening line, which could be done through personalization or it could be done through a why you, why now statement. Now, going through the next 3 steps, that's going to be quantifiable results, time frame, and unique mechanism. They all somewhat tie together, but I want to position this in a way that you could understand it from my perspective. As somebody who receives literally hundreds of emails every single day, what most of these email marketers can't do is actually deliver a pitch or craft an offer that stands out. They do a great job of grabbing my attention a lot of times with that first liner, but then they fail to actually craft an offer and stand out against all the other people that are emailing me on that same exact day. You really want to make your offer as easy as possible for people to say yes to. And in order to do that, for your offer to really stand out and be effective, it should include these 5 components. And that's relevance, which we've already touched on, quantifiable result, so that's what is that person going to get out of this, time frame, how long is it going to take for them to get that result, unique mechanism, how exactly are you going to do it, and then social proof. Have you actually done this before? How can you actually back up the statement that you made to me in your email? And so if we want to tie this together again with our marketing company that was helping junk removal, our marketing agency that was helping junk removal services, they already had all these components because they've proven it over and over again. So they had the social proof, they just didn't know how to craft their offer in a way that worked well with cold email. And so when we break down each of these components, I'll start with the industry relevance, where there's 2 really options for building relevance in that opener. One, it's the personalized first line opener. So in this junk removal case, we could say, notice you just opened up a second location in New York City, so thought this might be relevant. Now, if you want to do the poke the bear method, it's a little different. If you're like most junk removal company owners we speak with, you're probably losing a ton of business to the big name franchises eating up your market share. Now, moving on to step 2, which is the quantifiable result, they're able to help companies get 2 times more leads. In terms of the time frame, they can help companies get 2x more leads in 90 days. In terms of the unique mechanism of how they will help these junk removal companies 2x their leads in 90 days, it's through their junk removal growth system, where they establish junk removal businesses as their local market leader by implementing conversion-focused websites that are optimized for local SEO. They integrate their Google business profile and have embedded call tracking. So all that is great, but how do you actually compile that and compact it into a unique, smooth email that is not too long and it actually just hits home and resonates with the people you're reaching out to? I've actually bundled this all together to show you what our 2-step email sequence looks like. And this is the junk removal offer after implementing the iQuartum framework. So beforehand, it was we help junk removal companies get leads by providing websites and SEO services. Now, after iQuartum, here's what that offer looks like. So if we're doing it with the personalized first line approach, noticed you just opened up a second location in New York City, so thought this might be relevant. If we could help ABC junk removal rank higher on Google and increase your leads by 2x in 90 days, would you want to hear more? And then we follow that by social proof. We've worked with businesses like Texas Junkers and Lucky Buys Junk Cars, helping them grow leads by over 2.7x through our junk removal growth system in just a few months. Are you open to a 9-minute phone call to see if we can help do this for your company? And now if we do it with the why you, why now opener, everything is the same, so I'm not going to read the whole email. The only thing that changes is the opening line, which is, if you're like most junk removal company owners we speak with, you're probably losing a ton of business to the big name franchises eating up your market share. Notice how all of those just sound smooth, it comes together nicely, and it's all compact into a way that makes people genuinely very interested. Now, for email 2, all we're doing is really providing a little bit more context behind our unique mechanism and what we'll actually do. And what that email looks like is I sent a message the other day about improving lead flow for ABC Junk. I wanted to clarify exactly how we can help. We establish junk removal businesses as the local market leader by implementing conversion-focused websites that are optimized for local SEO, integrate their Google business profile, and have embedded call tracking. For example, with Texas Junkers, we ran a programmatic SEO campaign in May of 2024, boosting their Google search impressions by 364% in just 3 months, from 4.31K to $20,000 a month by August. Would you be open to discussing how we can achieve similar results for ABC Junk over a quick phone call? And as you could see, very simple in the sense that we're pretty much just tying together all the components that our client already had, but just putting it together in a script that is short, easy to read, very relevant to the people that we're reaching out to specifically, and it makes people very genuinely interested. All right, I hope you enjoyed that one. I know that was a fun one for me, guys. So now you can plug and play this framework directly into your business, but I want you to realize that this is just one tiny step of the entire cold email process. So if you'd rather save yourself the time and the hassle of setting up domains and inboxes and scraping and verifying your lead lists and writing your scripts and managing inboxes, then book a call below to learn more about BuzzLead, and we'll see if we're a fit to help you scale your business with cold email. Or if you want to learn more, then stick around for this next video and see how we do this every single month.